evening. Welcome to the Five Side Podcast. I'm your host, Fergus Smith, and I'm joined by Billy Kirkpatrick.
Hello.
New lease of life for Billy.
Yeah.
He's a happy man. And Craig Grigger, who's looking dashing as ever.
Also a happy man.
You a happy man, are you?
Duffy balls in full flow, so. Also, we've got the Craig that can't speak today, so that's good.
Yes, Duffy blow. Yeah, you could start with your Duffy blow if you want.
Oh, well, what can I say? It's as if, who would have thought, you start to play football, you start to win games. Who would have guessed? You keep the ball on the
Not me.
deck and you actually play
shocked.
some decent football. I wasn't at the game as I was working during the weekend, sadly. But from what I've heard, Hamilton maybe slightly edged the first half, but there wasn't much in it, if anything. And then they just came out the second half to well-worked counter-attacks, which is how Duffy ball seems to work best, with the quick counter. And
Soak a bit of pressure and then hit them on the counter.
Big Tommy, class as always. It's good to see
He's
the Irish Messi as well, starting to perform now that we're
Irish Messi.
suiting his actual style of play of keeping the ball on the deck. Yeah.
Actually attacking and not playing 800 defenders. You know.
But yeah, it's good to see.
It
Makes me
it's
happy
good to
again.
see Air playing a bit better.
Obviously, we've not played anyone that's. It's not like any the title contenders, you would say, yet. So it'll be interesting to see. Well, I say title contender, I mean like the top four, really.
What is that now, though? 3 games?
Yeah, 3 games, although one of them has obviously been rescinded. With
Unfortunately,
overturned.
I think
We got the 3-0 win, so I'm sure the confidence isn't going to go down because the game was overturned.
just because the result got overturned.
3 games.
Bit of a bullshit rule, but
3 games, 8 goals scored, 1 goal conceded, which is not bad, considering we've not scored 8 goals in the last 20 games before that, or something probably. But yeah, it'll be interesting once we actually play the big teams like Arbroath, and see how we go.
Mm-hmm. Well, next time Air play Kelly.
Yeah, next time it's middle of October on a Tuesday night, I believe. So it'll be
That's good.
an interesting one.
And we'll all be there.
Well, yeah, but I will be. Whether you come or not, whether you get tickets or what, bring the broggies
Support
round.
your local.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
Good times fair. I did obviously mention Kelly there. They're high flying in the league.
Yeah, capitalised on
2-0 win over title contenders Partick Thistle.
Well, apparently title contenders, yeah. Inverness dropping points, so that was a good weekend for Kelly, you've got to say. Although Inverness still sitting top of the league by a point. Will be a close fight, I think, between those two for who wins the league. Are both doing well, but I can't see them keeping up for the full season, especially considering they're a part-time team, so obviously later on might start to struggle a bit more with the fitness and stuff.
Well, think about winter months as well.
Yeah,
they could struggle in that time,
especially up at both. You've got quite a few games that could get cancelled up there during the winter, depends how bad the weather is, and then start to get a fixture build up, and that's just not what Arbroath will need to try and succeed, basically. But you know what? Fair play to them.
Championship will pan out like we predicted. It'll be fairly close.
Yeah.
But Apart from the fact that we predicted Dunfermline to win it, but that's not the point.
I do like to see Arbroath doing well as long as it's not against their Big Dick Campbell, a legend of Scottish football.
Yeah, I don't know. I can see them. I think there's something this year about Arbroath that, compared to recent years, there's just something. I don't know what it is. It just makes me think they might go for a playoff push.
Yeah, they've got every chance to. To be fair, there's no one's writing them off. Obviously, big challenge for them on Friday night, having Kelly. But it is Arbroath, which is a hard place for some teams to go. Obviously, Arbroath know how to play there with it being so close to the sea. You've obviously got the high winds sometimes. So yeah, it'll be an interesting game on Friday to see how they do against Kelly. Maybe judge it better then for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
What else have we got in chat? Hamilton continuing to be gash.
Well, yeah, we did just talk about how they got beat off air.
Dunfermline being slightly less gash by getting a draw against top of league Inverness, which is, with the league position looking at the league positions, it's probably a good result for them. Although they do
It's a
need
turning point.
They do need to start winning games. They do have another El Sacchio, although with Dunfermline versus Hamilton at the weekend. So that'd been.
I mean, that's going to be exciting.
To be fair, Stuart Taylor's only been in the job.
Yeah, I know, but you lose to Ayr, that usually should just be an automatic sacking. Although that, to be fair, that is Duffy ball now, so.
Duffy ball.
But yeah, I do think the Dunfermline Worth will start to pick up at some point. It just depends on how long before that happens, where Peter Grant's still in a job when it happens anyway.
Well, he was given a vote of confidence last week.
God knows how.
The sporting director, Thomas Miggle, decided that was the best course of action. I'm not convinced on what evidence it's based on.
I don't know about that one.
I think teams will take it.
Obviously, last time we left, just before European group stage football started, and was not an ideal start for the Scottish teams. Celtic took on Real Betis away from home in probably what could be called an exciting game.
Yeah, you could call it an exciting game. Yeah, well, I say you could. It definitely was an exciting game. 7 goals. Could have been 7 more, to be honest with you. But yeah, that's just Celtic style of play. Well, mostly Celtic style of play, and it was score goals.
It does create exciting games. Yeah. It started very well for Celtic, to be fair. Unexpectedly going 2-0 up pretty early on. I don't know that it seems to be like our kryptonite is if we go up like a goal or two in the first half of a game and away from home in European competitions, we seem to always end up just losing concentration.
Yeah,
towards the end of the first half and conceding
a stupid goal,
silly goals. Yeah,
it's one of those ones where they had a good chance to make it 3 as well. Obviously, Jota was played through and tried to chip the keeper, which is probably the right decision with how it was actually worked out. But
I don't have any complaints about that, to be honest.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where he should definitely burn that. He probably should be in 9 times out of 10. He probably would. But it's one of those ones where Celtic live to rue their missed chances.
Yeah, I think it's one of those ones where our subs, we've encountered a couple of injuries during the international break, and I think just the subs that we had available to us weren't quite able to make a difference to the game.
Yeah, it's not really ideal when your bench is so weak, really.
Especially attacking wise,
Yeah,
it's difficult to bring on anyone to make a change. Hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, we see the return of Kyogo, and we see what's his name, Giacomakis come into the squad.
even getting Forrest back would be a boost for
James
them.
Forrest coming back would be good as well.
So just they just need to start getting players fit. What has happened to James Forrest? He's just kind of a walking hospital bed now.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just knocks that he keeps getting, whether that be in games or in training. Obviously, had his bad injury last season.
Yeah,
And I think it just takes time to sort of build back into games when you come back from a big injury. And maybe that's the key, not to play him for 90 minutes. Maybe have him as an impact sub on the bench and bring him on later on into games, or play him for the first sort of 50, 60 minutes in a game and then freshen up, give him less game time to build him back up rather than throwing him in at the deep end,
yeah,
as they say. But it is good to see at the weekend there Mikey Johnson back on the bench for Celtic.
yeah. He's another one that's been very injury prone, missing for a lot recently. Not one that you could really say, oh yeah, Celtic's really been missing him because he was never really
Missing him, no, but
a starter, but just for the squad depth to be able to have him there because he's
I think
still young enough
he's
that he
more
can.
than he can make a
Yeah,
decent career for himself. He's also one of those players. He tries hard, like when he comes on, and he does have the ability to go past players and create a chance or even score a goal. I think he just needs to be built back into it a bit.
yeah. Obviously, Celtic had ball and goalie starting again at the weekend
The weekend,
after the.
unreal. A player I really never thought would see play for us again was a weird one considering he has no match fitness because he's not featured on a bench or anything.
Yeah, it really was a
Just
strange
straight
one
into the starting lineup.
because I wouldn't say that playing Juranovic at left back has really cost Celtic in any way.
No, but I even would
And
have
you can,
considered starting Montgomery
Montgomery.
at
You also
left
had the
back.
option, but like, it's not like left back's your main problem right now. It's like
No, centre midfield's
just
the main problem.
centre mid and kind of like concentration and defence, just which doesn't come from a left
I
back
think
mainly. It's mainly your two in the middle.
we have noticed the difference that Callum McGregor makes
Oh, 100%.
in midfield. Without him in the team, there's no one in the midfield that's sort of looking to go and win the ball back, but not just win the ball back, then make a pass, drop deep, push up the pitch with other players, and sort of help build through the phases of the game. Other players are capable of playing in that position, but not to the same level.
Yeah. What else? Obviously had the Rangers Leon game midweek as well, which
Yeah, I think a lot of Rangers fans were fairly positive about it. Obviously, they
If you had blue tinted glasses on, I
no,
guess you could be
yeah,
positive
I get
about
where
it.
they're coming from though, because it's not like Leon are the best team in the group, so you don't. It's a game that you probably didn't expect to win. Did they put up a good enough performance? They possibly
No.
they just if they'd finished their chances, they
I'd
could
argue
have been a
on the no
different
side as
story.
well.
Yeah, it is a tough one. Obviously,
Both both goals came from Rangers being slack in possession. The first one was, I think it was Kent at the halfway line loses possession fairly poorly, and it doesn't actually do anything to get back to sort of assist the defence. And right, fair play to the lad, he does kind of create the space for himself, and then he scores a nice goal. But
when you give a player of that quality that much time and space to hit a shot like that, you do run the risk of conceding a goal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's nobody closed him down. Nobody was out quick to shut him down, close the angle.
Show him inside, which was weird as well.
A strange one.
Instead of blocking off that route, make him play, force him to play across, or have to cut back and play to a defender or something. Yeah, and I think the second one was Kent again lost possession. Not quite the halfway line this time, but in an area where he doesn't need to lose possession. There's no need to try and do too much. Just pass. If you're under pressure, pass the ball. Is the way I see it.
Yeah.
I've found him to be really disappointing this season.
And that I think for Rangers fans will be frustrating because like it can be we've seen him before be like a pivotal player for Rangers, sort of being exciting on and off the ball, but it does seem to be in somewhat of a slump at the moment.
Yeah, very much so.
I think for me the problem that I have with him is that he's playing as if he's the best player in the league by country mile. He's trying these.
There's a difference between being confident in your ability and being cocky.
Yeah. Do the basics and the rest will follow in.
Yeah, a disappointing loss for Rangers. Especially being at home, they probably should have put up more of a fight. Obviously, like Crick said, I don't think anyone really, or anyone with sense about them, really expected them to win the game. But
no, and Leon were good, but they weren't outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's one of those ones where Rangers, it's not like they're going to go, we're going to play for second, but second was probably their best outcome before the Leon game. It's just, they could if they go there and get something in, maybe. I don't know. I don't see it.
I think finishing second's best, and they probably should do that anyway. But both teams will have to sort of pick themselves up, dust themselves off, and go again in a couple of weeks' time. You've muted yourself, by the way, Craig, if you're trying to talk to us.
Yeah, I think Europe will be difficult. I think for Celtic, Angel need to focus on the home games as a priority. Because away from home at the moment, they're looking,
I think Ferencváros home and away should be winnable games. Should be. Obviously, the Ferencváros at home with a changed kick-off time, the changed day, it will be difficult to have as many fans there to back the team, but out with that, they should be able to win those games.
At home, it's not a concern for me. I think at home I would fancy Celtic to give most teams a game.
I think next up for Celtic
away from home,
Leverkusen at home, which will be a difficult game, but at home with a full capacity crowd are well capable of causing an upset, and we've seen it done before, multiple occasions. Yes, obviously there was a slight controversy surrounding the Celtic and Rangers games with broadcasting. So
yes.
BT Sport, obviously the broadcasting partnership for the
Yeah.
Champions League, Europa League. Obviously, with Rangers being the home team, we've seen it done before. They set up their studio at either Ibrox or Celtic Park for both the games. Cover the early one, which will be away from home, and then full stadium behind them cover the second game. But pre Celtic game, a few hours before it, I think it was mid afternoon. Neil Lennon and Chris Sutton were supposed to be on punditry duties at Ibrox, and both turned up to Ibrox only to be told that they would not be admitted for the evening due to security concerns.
Yeah, I think it's very tit for tat. I think it's just personally, I think it's petty, but obviously, if they can satisfy UEFA's request that if UEFA think, well, okay, there was a genuine security breach, then that's obviously understandable to get away with it. If they don't, then they will be maybe subject to some sanctions. But obviously, as the host broadcaster, BT then were thrown into chaos, and we had for the Celtic game, Stilian Petrov drafted into a London studio, and some presenter I'd never even seen or heard before presenting the
I couldn't
game.
even tell you his
Clearly
name
knew
now.
nothing about Celtic because he was rambling on. But I suppose when you have 2 hours' notice to try and find somebody to go
Less
present,
than 2 hours notice to find someone.
when most of your team is already worked a week or been away or not available, it's difficult to get that. And I think Craig might be back.
I might be.
Right.
Good, because that was very. I was trying to stall talking about TV broadcasting, which was not a comfortable subject.
No, I think
Yes.
by all accounts, it was a short walk in the street from one barrier to being in the stadium, and they were told that because of that they weren't allowed to get in. Which, Chris Sutton's been very vocal about it since. I've not seen Neil Lennon say anything or heard anything from him.
Yeah, probably just won't blame somebody else.
I'm just surprised UEFA aren't looking at that and thinking, if they can't guarantee the security of pundits, how can they guarantee the security of opposition fans?
Opposition fans, their own fans, players,
Yeah,
other staff.
it's a very obviously the two have an association with Celtic, but they're not. Nothing's going to happen to them.
Uh-huh.
Like, the Rangers fans are stupid, but I mean, they're not that stupid.
And even at that,
Some,
even at that,
point out some.
Yeah,
I just don't get it at all. It's overly petty. They're not neither of these two men work for Celtic anymore.
I think, although I agree that it shouldn't have happened. I think the bigger, more pressing issue domestically with Celtic and Rangers is the refusal to allow away fans into the stadium.
Yeah,
I think that's the bigger scandal here.
You can obviously make the very slight argument about the season ticket one, but then for Celtic's game on Thursday against Wraith in the Cup, which isn't a season ticket game, and Wraith don't have any fans.
Yeah, that one's bizarre.
It's not a game that's going to sell out.
No, I understand.
I don't think Celtic are going to sell that one out.
I understand season ticket holders do get sort of first dibs on their seats, so that makes sense that way. But they have a specific window to purchase the tickets, and then at that point they should be like, okay, the people that need relocated, we can try and relocate them into the home section, and then be like, away fans, you can have tickets. But also,
Yeah.
why is the red zone at Celtic Park still so big? When in other places it's not. I don't understand.
Let me be quite clear here. I think both clubs are equally as guilty on this.
Yeah, they are.
The only reason Leon fans were, allowed into the stadium on Thursday was because they were forced. UEFA
UEFA
forced
basically said,
Rangers to admit
no,
them.
you can't do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas in Scotland they're sort of just allowed to do as they please,
Yeah.
which I don't agree with 90% of the time.
Yeah, it's not
Even
ideal.
even for Dundee United on Sunday, the back of a good result at the weekend, don't get to see their team. Same Motherwell and Sunday there, they couldn't go out to see their team doing a good performance. We're not asking to give the 2, 3, 4,000 tickets.
No,
Far from it.
just
asking for a small allocation.
the normal allocation would more than suffice, especially when there's still home tickets going on general sale.
Yeah.
At that point, then you really have to ask the question, like, how can you general sale tickets while saying there's no space for away fans? Anyway.
Well, it's a bit of the week. Oh yes, the Ayr United playing ineligible players, obviously.
Oh yeah. Ayr v Rangers B in the Challenge Cup. Obviously, Ayr ran out winners in the actual fixture, but yesterday it was announced that the result would be overturned and Rangers B have been awarded a 3-0 victory. Not like Rangers to be awarded things that they don't deserve.
Yeah, Ayr could have probably appealed it, but is it worth going through a lengthy appeal process?
Is it worth the time and the effort? Probably not.
It would have probably been a replay maybe that might have got out of it. Is it then worth it to have an extra game to replay?
And it's just the Challenge Cup.
Yeah, I think they would have probably appealed it and stuff if it was a different. No offense to anyone that is a big fan of the Challenge Cup. If it was a bigger competition, maybe
it was a bigger cup, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I think it's a little bollocks, but it's not worth the hassle of appealing it.
Yeah. It's a bit silly.
The strange thing is the fact that there's different rules for the two teams, because Rangers B could play players that were
out on
loaned out.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's great, common sense from the SFA, SPFL. Let's have a cup that's all about developing players, but then we were trying to encourage those developing players to play in the development cup. Well, if you're actually out loaning a different development, we can't give you alternative development to enhance your development. So it's an absolute little bollocks for me.
So many times we can say development in 5 seconds.
Yeah, that was my challenge.
Is that a world record?
How though are we meant to develop players by giving them game time in this cup when we're not allowed to take them from, let's face it, lesser development loans and put them in a better setting?
Because obviously the only way that you can play them in the cup is to not loan them out. But then if you don't loan them out, they're going to only play 2 games a full season max.
Pretty much.
So it's not. It's a strange one, but I don't. The one obviously it's a strange one. It shouldn't be the rules, but it still gets me. I don't know what how Ayr managed to miss it. Like it's everyone kind of knows the rules. I don't, but oh well.
Yeah, I think if you know the rules, you stick to them.
Yeah.
But it is amazing how often it happens to clubs where they field an ineligible player inadvertently or whatnot. It is surprisingly common.
Yeah.
The weekend has some great songs.
I can't believe, as I would say, is that our new guest because we're missing two members.
Yeah. Yeah. Nah, just obviously Rangers had their flag day at
They
home
did.
to Motherwell, although it wasn't the official flag that was unveiled, and it technically isn't the official flag day that it was unveiled on, because they're now 5 games into the season and whatnot.
Yeah, well, let them do them.
Let them do them. Leave them to it at this point.
Yeah.
Not such a glorious day for them though.
No.
Their advantage, their 1-goal advantage, cancelled out by Motherwell. Finished 1 each. I didn't see any of the game because I had no desire to watch the game. I was busy.
Well, they also gained their 1-goal advantage through an offside goal anyway. So.
Right. That's good.
But yeah, classic.
Yeah.
Just it's more of a case of
These things happen in
Rangers
Scottish
just
football.
not finishing their chances. Motherwell finished their chances.
Seems to be a common
got that.
theme for Rangers so far. They're not finishing enough chances.
Well, they were a team who I wasn't really impressed with after the first couple of games.
I wasn't impressed with them pre-season, like the look of their squad pre-season either.
But 4 games in, the next 4 games after then 3 wins and a draw, and draw being against Rangers is a decent showing for them. Puts them 4th in the league, so fair play to them.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, Celtic, the other side of Glasgow, also not having a pretty day. Away from home to Livingston, Celtic haven't won there since Livingston came up again to the top flight. The less is said, the better. You know, I didn't catch very much of the game, but I think it was just it was one of those things where on another day Celtic could have won the game 2-3 4-0, but just one of those things where you've got to finish chances you make. You've got to play better in the final third and have other ideas.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those things. Celtic are where people would really sort of expect them to be. I think earlier on in the season, especially in European competition, they were sort of in the Europa League qualifiers, sort of overshooting a little bit, surprising people with what they were doing. Obviously, the squad's still capable of that, but we do have to remember that the phase of the rebuild that Celtic are in at the moment, I wouldn't overly expect them to be like winning games by massive margins every week, especially coming off the back of a probably quite draining European game in Spain in the high heat and all that. But yeah, I think outside of one sort of mistake that led to the goal and a bit of weak defending, it was a fairly resilient defensive showing. But yeah, just got to have other ideas. And again, the substitute bench not ideal with the players that you can bring on. And like I said, hopefully in the next few weeks we see the return of some injured players and some of the new players coming into the squad and sort of just bolstering it a bit. It'd be nice to see, and then
give the extra depth.
We're only a couple of weeks away from another international break again, which is honestly the most annoying thing in the world. I have lots
No,
of time
I'm
for international
very much
football,
looking forward to it.
but just
I think it's good when we've got something to play
something to
for
play for, something to look
in
forward to.
international
Yeah,
football.
but just
But
the
no,
the
all
number of
that.
breakups in the season that you get because of it,
Yeah,
and then it's yet to be seen what's actually going to happen when the World Cup comes, if Scotland qualify, because I could see a number of teams missing quite a lot of players
yeah. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to work it. Whether they start the season
early,
earlier
or
or
whether they
what,
have an early winter
and
break.
it'll be an extended winter break as well.
Well, yeah. Well, unless they have the winter break, sort of in the period of the, obviously slightly longer than usual, but in the period of the World Cup, and then come back after it. But
Yeah,
it's gonna be a weird season next season.
yeah. I don't know how they'll work it because obviously it's so hard for them as well. It's like because every other league in the world like starts different
Different times, yeah.
times and stuff. So it's like it's not that you can just be like, okay, right, we'll just move everyone's league start back like 2 weeks. But so I don't, yeah,
Well, it's also not just Scottish players, is it? It's
well, yeah. It's players that
teams
like
have
obviously
other players that are probably more likely
going,
to be at the competition than Scotland players, maybe
yeah.
potentially. Yeah,
It's also
leave
you
it up to
can't,
the powers that be.
yeah. Even if Scotland don't make it, you couldn't have the eighth best league in Europe technically now, 8th or 9th best league in Europe, playing at the same time as a
An
World Cup.
international,
I
yeah.
don't know. Yeah.
It's yet to be seen.
Uh,
I'm sure
yeah,
I'm sure we'll
some
find
the
out in
big
due
bosses see.
course.
Yeah.
If no one has any other matters, makes it sound like it's an AGM.
It is,
If
yeah.
no one has any other matters they'd like to discuss.
Well, we've always got the usual fuck
Oh
Matt.
yeah, fuck you,
Yeah,
Matt.
just put it in
We'll move on. We'll do
that one
predictions
in.
for this week's what's it called? Premier Sports Cup during the
Yep.
week, and then a few weekend games. So if you don't mind, starts 2 games tomorrow night, 7:45 kickoffs. But we'll start with Dundee, St Johnstone.
I'm going to go for a 1-0 draw. The Billy Classic.
I'm going to go for worse than a 1-all draw, score draw, or not a score draw, no score draw, 0-0.
No score draw.
I'm so used to saying 1-1.
He's actually just
Don't
said
think
score draw 0-0.
No.
score draw, but the goals were ruled out for offside.
Fuck me. Dundee are absolutely terrible. I watched a bit of the derby at the weekend, and honestly, did 2-0 St Johnstone. I'd say Jurors went
Yeah.
1-0 St Johnstone, and obviously,
And God knows if we get Matt's
yeah, to
predictions.
know what Matt's going to say. Same time, different place.
I'm going to go for
Um,
a 3-1
yeah, it's Rangers
win.
Livingston. Yeah,
Yeah, so I think, so I think for me, I think it's, I don't know, Rangers coming on off the back of a very poor Sunday performance, Livingston a very good one, but 2 big performances Livingston in the space of 3-4 days. I think it's tall order. I think for me, Rangers will just edge it 1-0.
yeah, a lot of fixture congestion. I don't know. Rangers should win at home. Obviously, Livingston have in the past proven to be a bit sticky, but I'd say 2-1 Rangers because they like conceding goals at the moment.
They do.
Next up, Thursday night football. Celtic at home to Wraith. Oh, look at that old firm!
I think
Oh,
this will
look
be
at that old firm getting home ties, easy home ties. Oh, who said that?
I mean, yeah, predictable. I think this will be Celtic's confidence game. Anyway, I think they'll score a barrel load and don't think they'll concede many against the Wraith's main attack of Dario Zanata. I'm going to go for 5-0 to Celtic.
I'm going to go for Celtic 3, Wraith Rovers 1.
I think that's an acceptable prediction. Well done, Billy. Only the 8 for Celtic. You know, if we'd been playing better, I'd say 10, but not been playing great recently, so 8-0 Celtic.
Can I ask, did Mr. Rangers man put 6-0 Celtic?
He did put 6-0 Celtic. He also put 2-0 Rangers.
He did.
I need to lie down here.
I mean, they are playing Wraith, Bill.
Well, I think maybe Wraith are better than
I think it just depends whether we see a weakened Celtic team. Play the boys.
You don't have the players to play a weekend.
Play the children. Play the children. Play the children. Play the B team. Next up, this is also the cup. Yeah, I'd lost track of where we were. Dundee United, Hibs.
At 3. No, 3-2 to Hibernian.
I'm going to go for score draw 1-1.
I think Hibs will not have the edge, and Dundee United will win 1-0. Jure thinks it'll be 2-1 Hibs.
So the next game we do have Motherwell Ross County in the league, which I'm going to predict another Motherwell win, and quite a comfortable one this time, a 2-0 win.
Yeah, I'm going to go for... I think Ross County will have a goal, and I'm going to go 2-1 to Motherwell.
I don't know. Oh, I don't know. I'll go for my score draw, 1 each. Jure said 1-0 Hamilton. I don't know why I said Hamilton. I don't know what I'm looking at. Motherwell.
Yeah. I'm sure the Motherwell fans will be happy you've just classed him as Hamilton.
My brain's gone to absolute mush in the last 5 minutes here.
What Ferg is trying to say that they should just combine the clubs. That means they're 2 small clubs anyway.
Are both Kilmarnock?
The title clash here, and I do actually see Arbroath getting something at this. Going to go 2-1 to Arbroath.
I think Arbroath will put up a fight, but Kelly will just be too strong. I think I'm going to go 2-1 Kelly.
Yeah, I almost can't decide. I do think Kelly will edge it. I'll go 1-0 Kelly. Jure's obviously a massive Kelly man. He's went 3-0 to Kelly. Cove Rangers Airdrie.
Both teams probably not doing as well as they'd be hoping to in the league this season, and I think it'll be a hard fought 0-0.
I'm going to go for I do think it'll be a draw because the last two games have been a draw. I'm going to go for 2-2.
It's caught me off guard there. Cove Rangers, they should probably get into some winning ways. 2-0 to Cove. And Jur said 2-1 Airdrie because he's high in his own supply. Finally, Kelty Hearts Stranraer.
Kelty just unstoppable in that league. And they'll continue with a 4-0 victory against Stranraer.
Yeah, this could be a fairly comfortable victory for Kelty. I'm going to go Kelty 4. But I do think Stranraer will sneak a goal. Stranraer 1.
I thought he was going to say it could be a cricket score. Yeah, I don't want to say 4. I'll say 3-0 Kelty Hearts, and Jur said 1-0 Kelty Hearts. He's obviously not seen how class they are this season so far. That concludes the predictions. Hopefully Matt does his this week.
Well, he is bottom of the leaderboard now,
Yes.
so
Well done, Matt. Congratulations.
need to pick up.
I won't get too wide because I'm not doing great. So
Yeah, and we aren't the best at predicting games, surprisingly.
No, we're class.
You know, you'd think.
Billy just likes saying draw and then hoping for the best.
Yep.
But we move. We'll see. Someone has to topple Matt anyway. You know, he's just too good at them apparently.
Yeah.
And I think without any further ado, if you'd like to say goodbye, Billy.
Yeah, goodbye, and may the ball roll kindly for your team this weekend, whoever you support.
Craig, once you're done listening to voice notes.
It's a goodbye from me, and hopefully Duffy ball prevails.
Duffy ball indeed. Again, I'm going to say this every time until we get 5 people. Hopefully next week we've got 5, and we can have a full podcast for you. But until then, it is a good night and God bless.